Welcome, everyone, to the third meeting of the House Transportation Committee for this session. I would ask the members and the guests, as always, to please silence your cell phones. I would also remind those in the audience that any presentations and amendments considered at today's meeting have been posted to the Meeting Materials tab on Committee Web's page for this meeting. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Representative Bivens.
Here.
Representative Branscombe.
Here.
Representative Bridges. Representative Donworth.
Here.
Representative Dossett. Representative Elliott. Representative Hale.
Present.
Representative Heverin. Representative Hodgson. Representative Huff.
Here.
Representative Lehman.
Here.
Representative Lewis.
Here.
Representative McCool. Representative Neighbors. Representative Rorks.
Here.
Representative Smith. Representative Tackett Lafferty.
Here.
Representative Thomas.
Present.
Representative Upchurch.
Here.
Chairman Blanton.
Present.
Chair Imes.
Present. It appears we have a quorum present and are duly constituted to do business. Copies from from our previous meeting were on February the 18th is in your members' folders. If there are no edits or corrections, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes for the meeting. Have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Those in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay. Minutes are approved. Do any members have any guests they want to introduce? Okay, first on our agenda is House Bill 157, an act relating to special license plates sponsored by Representative Ken Upchurch.
We do have a committee sub on that. Second.
Okay, Representative Upchurch, we have a motion and a second on the committee sub. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it. Substitute is adopted. Okay, Representative Upchurch, introduce yourself and any guests you may have, and you may proceed.
All right, I'm Representative Ken Upchurch with the 52nd House District. I have with me today a face that you all should find very familiar, former Representative Brandon Reed, who is working in the Department of Agriculture under Commissioner Shell.
You may proceed.
All right, thank you. House Bill 157 is a license plate bill that was brought to us by Commissioner Shell. It's called the Ag Tag Bill, and I'm going to let Brandon get a little deeper in the weeds on the exact intent and go from there.
Thank you, Chairman Upchurch. Thank you all for having us today. Commissioner Shell sends his greetings. He is in Washington, D.C., moving our agenda forward in Washington at this time. So the bill that's before you, you all know of the Kentucky Agriculture Tag, the farm tag we call it. It's meant for very specific vehicles under specific terms. We have a lot of people in Kentucky, they want to support agriculture. They would like to get a farm tag. And so basically this opens that up for individuals to get a commercial Friends of Agriculture tag so they can contribute. Of course, the money goes into the fund just like the farm tag does, so it will contribute to moving Kentucky agriculture forward all across the Commonwealth just as the farm tag does. And coming up in March, while I got a plug, that's when the farm tags come due for the farmers. I just urge everyone to go ahead and pay your $10. That helps the organizations in the Department of Agriculture, 4-H, and FFA. So thank you. That's what the bill does.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any questions? Representative Walker. Thomas.
I'll answer to either. All chairmen have a problem with that there. I appreciate you bringing this bill. Looks like on page 2 and 3, does it exempt or bring down the fees for members of National Guard too or so? Or is that? On page 2, I see it says members of Civil Air Patrol, and then it says members of Kentucky National Guard. And then if you go on to the initial fees, it strikes out the $23 down to zero. So
I
is
will
that
ref-
doing something for the Guard also?
Actually, that was part of the committee sub, and I will refer to Chairman Blanton on that sub.
Thank you, Representative Upchurch. The committee sub, I believe it was last year, we added, worked on the fees for specialized plates, and we forgot to exempt out our military veteran plates. And so this just puts those back in, what we used to have, those exemptions for our military plates, that there's not a fee involved. That's all it does, exempts them from the fee for their plates.
Awesome. Well, thank you for doing that.
Representative Donworth, did you have a question?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Could you talk a little bit about what the fund will cover, what it will fund once it's in place?
It'll be the same as the farm tag that already exists. So like I said, the fund will help 4-H, it helps FFA, helps various programs with the Kentucky Department of Agriculture that we have to pursue every year. So it's the same fund. It's already in existence.
Okay. And a follow-up question, if I may. Do you have an estimate for what you think this might bring in?
Right now, the farm tag brings in about, this year we're trying to hit $1 million. It's last year just hit under $1 million. I think this year we're going to hit $1 million. Really don't know what this addition will do. That's what the current farm tag does. I doubt it brings in an additional $1 million. There's just a lot of individuals that can't get a farm tag because of the classification. They just want a Friends of Agriculture. But if it takes off, I mean, you could see this fund double. So that's what we're hoping for, but we really don't know right now until we have a full year and see what the receipts do.
Great. Thank you.
Are there any more questions? Okay, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Representative Bivens,
Yes.
Representative Blanton,
Aye.
Representative Branscombe,
Aye.
Representative Burgess,
Yes, and could I report my attendance, please?
Representative Donworth,
Yes.
Representative Dossett, Representative Elliott,
Aye.
Representative Hale,
Yes.
Representative Heverin, Representative Hodgson, Representative Huff,
Yes.
Representative Lehman,
Yes.
Representative Lewis,
Yes.
Representative McCool, Representative Neighbors, Representative Rourke,
Yes.
Representative Smith, Representative Tackett Lafferty, Representative Thomas,
Aye.
Representative Upchurch,
Yes.
Chair Imes.
Yes. House Bill 157 is reported with favorable expression with the committee substitute attached thereto. Thank you both. Next on our agenda is House Bill 682, an act relating to utility relocation, sponsored by Representative Ken Upchurch. Please introduce yourself and any guests you may have, please.
Again, I'm Representative Upchurch, House District 52, and I'll let my guests introduce themselves.
Thank you, Representative.
I don't think so.
Got it.
There you go.
Ellen Call with Charter Communications.
Dalton Workman with Charter Communications.
You may proceed.
I'm going to turn it over just briefly. The bill's meant to, we have a lot of broadband in the state, or a lot of utility work going on. And this is meant to make sure that when we're doing the design on the road construction, that broadband is also considered in the estimates. And I'm going to turn it over to them for some further explanation.
All right, and thank you so much, Representative. Yes, this is really just a very simple update of some chapters. It's our understanding it haven't been updated since the 1960s, and so it would 682 would says that cable operators and broadband providers shall be afforded the same rights as public utilities to be reimbursed for any sort of forced relocation connected to highway projects. And I do want to point out the cabinet retains full discretion on when they reimburse entities for moving their facilities.
Can we have a motion and a second on the bill? Do you all want to continue or, okay. Are there any questions? Representative Lehman.
Hi, thank you, Madam Chairman. Just a quick, what is the current status or situation? I mean, if a cable operator is required to move those lines, is it?
Well, so right now, just because the statute is so old, these cable operators and broadband providers are not listed along with the entities that are eligible for reimbursement.
So if you're asked to move currently, you're not reimbursed?
Well, so I think that it's interesting. I'd like to kind of talk to the cabinet more about what their process is. I think that sometimes we're reimbursed and sometimes we're not, but I'm unclear about how they make those decisions. I'm sure they're driven by budget more than anything.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions? Rorks. Representative Rorks.
Thank you, Chair. Is there a fiscal note on the bill?
No, there's not, because this does not change any of the cabinet's discretion about when they reimburse entities for relocating their facilities.
Okay, thank you.
If there are no more questions, we have a motion and a second on the bill. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Representative Bivens.
Yes.
Representative Blanton.
Aye.
Representative Branscombe.
Aye.
Representative Bridges. Representative Donworth.
Yes.
Representative Dossett.
Yes.
Representative Elliott. Representative Hale.
Yes.
Representative Heverin. Representative Hodgson. Representative Huff.
Yes.
Representative Lehman.
Yes.
Representative Lewis.
Yes.
Representative McCool. Representative Neighbors. Representative Rorks.
Yes.
Representative Smith. Representative Tackett Lafferty. Representative Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Upchurch.
Yes.
Chair Ums.
Yes. House Bill 682 is reported with favorable expression. That same should pass. Thank you. Next on our agenda is House Bill 443, an act relating to the Hal Rogers Parkway, not Porkway, sponsored by Representative John Blanton. Representative Blanton, please identify yourself, and you may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee, for allowing me to present to you today. Representative John Blanton from the 92nd District. Before I get into my bill, let me say this. I want to welcome back my good friend, my right arm, John Snyder. John's been out for a few days, and we're thankful to have him back with us today. Good to have you here, John. So, House Bill 443, dealing with the Hal Rogers Parkway, is a very simple piece of legislation. 20-plus years ago, Kentucky Route 80 between London, Kentucky and Hazard, Kentucky was designated as the Hal Rogers Parkway. And we are in the process, if you've ever traveled that roadway, you know the challenges. There's a lot of accidents that occur on that section of roadway, and we are attempting to begin four-laning that section from London to Hazard. What 443 does is it simply moves the east side of the signage of the parkway from there at Hazard farther east along 80 to US 23 in Prestonsburg. That section is already four-laned, and it's simply being done to help us to hopefully get federal funding in this effort to four-lane as we can tabulate more miles of this parkway from London to Hazard. That's all it does, moves the signage farther east to US 23.
We have a motion and a second on the bill. Do you want to proceed?
No, ma'am.
Okay, are there any questions? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Representative Bivens.
Yes.
Representative Blanton.
Aye.
Representative Branscombe.
Aye.
Representative Bridges? Yes. Representative Donworth?
Yes.
Representative Dossett?
Yes.
Representative Elliott? Representative Hale?
Yes.
Representative Heverin? Yes. Representative Hodgson? Representative Huff?
Yes.
Representative Lehman?
Yes.
Representative Lewis?
Yes.
Representative McCool? Representative Neighbors? Representative Rorks?
Yes.
Representative Smith? Representative Tackett Lafferty? Representative Thomas?
Aye.
Representative Upchurch? Chair Ums?
Yes. House Bill 443 is reported with favorable expression that same should pass. Thank you, Representative Blanton, but keep your seat. Next on our agenda is House Bill 444, an act relating to commercial driver's license, sponsored by Representative Blanton. You may identify yourself again and proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. John Blanton with the 92nd District. House Bill 444 is a bill dealing with...
Excuse me, do we have a committee sub?
We do.
Okay. Motion is second. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Thank you. It's adopted.
Thank you. House Bill 444 deals with commercial driver's licensing. This is a bill brought to me by the Transportation Cabinet. So let me touch on what original 444 does, and then I'm going to get to the remainder part of the committee sub. What we did on the committee sub was House Bill 436, Representative Miles's bill, dealt with CDLs as well. So rather than trying to run two bills, we just combined them into one and run them together. And so I'll talk about that here shortly. First, House Bill 444 that the Transportation Cabinet brought forth is, all it simply does is brings Kentucky statutes in line with the federal statutes when it comes to reporting. For example, if someone is giving a citation is dismissed, this requires it still gets submitted. It simply brings us in compliance to the standards of the federal statutes, and it prevents high-risk drivers from continuing to operate, avoiding penalties and legal issues, is what the House Bill 444 did. That's part of this bill still. And then the committee sub from 436 would take the CDL, hazardous, delivering hazardous materials from age 21. It would allow someone of 18 and up that has a CDL to be able to qualify for their hazardous add-on for their CDLs. Now, this does not include school buses. They cannot drive school buses, and they cannot drive interstate. We're talking about propane tanks.
We have a motion and a second on the bill
Very good.
as amended by the committee sub. Any questions? Representative Rorks.
Thank you, Chair. Rep. Blanton, can you explain how, why the 18 to 21-year-olds would no longer need the hazardous add-on? Just like, can you speak more to the safety element of why that might have been in place to begin with?
Well, I think initially in place was an age issue, and we had plenty of people that was applying at the age of 21 and over. And as we've seen a reduction of truck drivers and a need for more truck drivers in some of these particular areas, like your propane drivers are your ones that's driving. If you have a propane tank, they're delivering propane to your home and they're filling the tanks and those type things. This simply allows someone to get that hazardous materials add-on to their CDLs at the age of 18.
Oh, and one brief follow-up. Can you also explain what other types of, you said no school bus drivers, can you just explain some of those prohibitions that would not be allowed?
Well, the prohibitions already exist, but we added school bus operators to that list of prohibitions. The license to operate any Class A, B, or C vehicles unless he or she has a K restriction. And if you're asking for technical terms, I would have to get some of my transportation folks up here to explain that to you. And then also, anybody that holds a valid CDL may be issued a hazardous material, to transport hazardous materials in intrastate. In other words, they can't transport across state lines with it.
Representative Dossett?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Blanton, I want to thank you for this legislation because I have seen in our agricultural areas, we sometimes have some of our young people, 18 to 21, they are moving hazardous material if they're moving anhydrous, which is used for nitrogen on corn, or their herbicides or insecticides. So this is going to be very beneficial to help our farmers be able to get these type of materials moved from place to place. So thank you for the legislation.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Seeing no other questions, I have a motion and a second on the House Bill 444 as amended by the committee sub. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Representative Bivens,
Yes.
Representative Blanton,
Aye.
Representative Branscombe,
Aye.
Representative Bridges, Representative Donworth,
Yes.
Representative Dossett,
Yes.
Representative Elliott, Representative Hale,
Yes.
Representative Heverin, Representative Hodgson, Representative Huff,
Yes.
Representative Lehman,
Yes.
Representative Lewis,
Yes.
Representative McCool, Representative Neighbors, Representative Rourke,
Yes.
Representative Smith, Representative Tackett Lafferty, Representative Thomas,
Aye.
Representative Upchurch,
Yes.
Chair Ums.
Yes. House Bill 444 is reported with favorable expression with the committee sub attached thereto. Thank you. Next on our agenda is House Bill 493, an act relating to the towing and storage of motor vehicles, sponsored by Representative Sarge Pollock. Please identify yourself and any guests at your table, and you may proceed.
Representative Michael Sarge Pollock, District 51.
Anne Marie Franklin, Kentucky Farm Bureau Insurance.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Today, House Bill 493 has the Towing Association and the Kentucky Farm Bureau working together on a piece of legislation that makes good policy for consumer protection. 4 years ago, this body passed a measure establishing parameters around the predatory towing practices we have seen here in Kentucky. House Bill 493 is simply a cleanup bill with some small changes to existing statute for the transparency and the enforcement. The primary concerns we have seen throughout the state are the predatory billing practices on consumers, inflated charges during holds initiated for civil or criminal investigations.
We have a motion and a second on the bill. Would you like to proceed?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay. Are there any questions from the committee? Representative Heverin.
Thank you, Representative Pollock. Thank you very much. I know last night, and Anne Marie as well, I came to you all with a concern from one of the towing companies in my district, and so I really appreciate you all working with them on this bill. So I just appreciate you all being amendable to that. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Representative Lehman.
Just a quick comment, Madam Chair. And I just want to reiterate, I really appreciate this legislation as a victim of someone who had a legally parked car towed and took 18 months to recover that money. So very needed, and thank you.
Okay, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Representative Bivens,
Yes.
Representative Blanton,
Aye.
Representative Branscombe,
Aye.
Representative Bridges, Representative Donworth,
Yes, and thank you for explaining it to me.
Representative Dossett,
Yes.
Representative Elliott, Representative Hale,
Yes.
Representative Heverin, Representative Hodgson, Representative Huff,
Yes.
Representative Lehman,
Yes.
Representative Lewis,
Yes.
Representative McCool, Representative Neighbors, Representative Rourke,
Yes.
Representative Smith, Representative Tackett Lafferty, Representative Thomas,
Aye.
Representative Upchurch.
Yes.
Chair Ums.
Yes. House Bill 493 is reported with favorable expression. That same should pass. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair and the committee.
We have one administrative regulation for review. This regulation has already been reviewed by our staff and by the Administrative Reg Subcommittee. 600 KRA 004010, proposed certification of disadvantaged business enterprises. We have John Johnson, Assistant General Counsel, Transportation Cabinet, here to give a brief explanation and answer any questions that you may have.
Madam Chair, this is members, committee members. This is an amendment to make the Kentucky regulation congruent and equal to the federal nomenclature. We had to make some minor changes in the definition section, and I'd like to introduce Tony Yousefi. He can identify those changes.
Tony Yousefi, Executive Director of the Office for Civil Rights and Small Business Development.
Please push your mic on, please.
Tony Yousefi, Executive Director, Office for Civil Rights and Small Business Development. Those changes include amendment necessary to the modification of Federal Regulation 49 CFR Part 23 and 26. We have also several amendments when it comes to the appeal process pursuant to US DOT DBE, ACDBE program, as well as some other changes that we have, want to make sure that we align with US DOT, that our federal state regulations are aligned with federal regulations.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the committee? Let the record reflect the committee has reviewed this regulation. There's no.
Thank you.
Representative Dawson.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I need to record a yes vote for House Bill 157, please.